Many of my buildings were extraordinarily costly to build and were made out of stone. Some of them took 5 years, some of them took 10 years to build. Um, they were all very monumental and very, very expensive. At first I had 3, then I had 6, then I had 16, then I had 32 stone buildings. And then pretty soon I had 140 stone buildings and stone factories, putting out materials, supplying money, as well as printing money, mining mines. I found diamonds. I wanted to go underneath some a volcanic. I wanted to see what was underneath a volcano and what was underneath lava. And they found diamonds and they found other rare materials and stuff. And different things happened throughout my life, basically, as I guided and had things built and paid for things and created textiles and created steam engines and created traction engines and created cars and created everything, basically. As I invented and created things and explored the world with my crews of people, I built different buildings, all kinds of buildings, granaries, windmills, water pumps, everything. Even did lava research. At some point in time, even though I used pine inside my buildings one time, and oak wood in other buildings, and even hardwood. And at one point, even the hardwood was starting to rot after like 150 years or something like that. The wood was just too rotten to be repaired. So because stone isn't really affected by fire, a lot of my buildings were burnt at one point in time, where the inside workings would just be burnt to a crisp, and then the ashes would be scooped up and put inside a pile, and then the inside of the buildings would be rebuilt with all new wood and new updated mechanisms and granaries and stuff like the grinding machines, grinding wheels. So many of my buildings have been used for 5 or 6 different things and have been updated 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 times, really. As the wood would get rotten or old, or we would come up with a much newer, better design, or I'd come up with a much newer, better design, I'd be like, okay, we're going to build it like this time. And so basically what they would do is they would pour gasoline or oil all over the insides of the buildings and then light it, and the building would burn. Okay, nice and clean. All right, sweep up the ashes, clean the outside, let's go. And I'd pay for everything, and all new mechanisms, wood carvers would come in and they would build the superstructures for everything. And pretty soon we'd have a brand new factory inside of one of my old buildings. So that's why you see a lot of pictures with buildings that were burnt. That was when the insides had gotten rotten and were in need of repair anyway, and the repair was just too big, too expensive to actually feasibly do. Or at least it was just easier just to burn it, because, like I say, the exterior of my buildings were all solid stone. There wasn't much that could actually hurt them. The stone was tested in lava, actually. I think that might be another thing I did. I actually did lava testing for my stone. I'd take stone, dip it in lava. How'd it do? Okay, did it melt? No. Okay, and I guess it's good, because most fires can't really get much more than a couple thousand degrees. They do a little bit. So some stone. Of course, we've quickly figured out which stone was affected by high heat temperatures and which one weren't. My buildings were built with stone that could endure high heat fairly well. In fact, a lot of my buildings actually were kilns that they use. I built kilns, so and furnaces and foundries. So a lot of my buildings, even though they might not be used for a kiln or furnace, were actually made out of material that could withstand a furnace's temperatures up to like 5,000 degrees or something. And I think 7,000 degrees is, or somewhere, is natural fire, or what wood burns at. And then there's, of course, the other stuff. So anyway, and somebody's being annoying in the background here. So anyway, so all my buildings were built with high heat stone and all that other stuff. And that kind of led to the fire brick, because sometimes they just burn the inside of a building out and just be like, okay, let's rebuild. And we rebuild with all new workings and all new grinders and all new everything, wood parts and wood stuff. So my buildings actually are 500 to 3,000 years old everywhere. In fact, there really aren't any buildings which are, a lot of my long-standing buildings actually are far, far older than they appear to be. So anyway.